to another episode of Primordial Threads. I am Hannah.
I am Anna, and we're continuing our mini-sode series today with Venus.
Yeah, so we're talking about what Venus even does. Um, I guess we'll just dive right on into it.
Yeah.
Venus is known as the Lesser Benefic. She rules Taurus and Libra, so a earth sign and an air sign, which I think is kind of interesting when you think about what kind of topics she's ruling over.
Mm-hmm.
Between the two that I feel like people most commonly associate her with is like beauty and relationships, which
Hmm.
you can kind of pull out of the Taurus Libra earth and air thing going on. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like the physical things, like physical
Mm,
goods, show up a lot for Venus,
yes.
and that feels like the Taurus side for me, where it is that
Hmm.
Earth, and then it's also like the connections, which feels more Libra, Venus-y for me.
Absolutely.
But I
Yeah.
also like she's in fall in Virgo though. So it's not like she just completely is super happy in all earth signs.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no. What does she have triplicity in? It's in is
Is
it
it
water
water? I
signs? I think it is
think it might be
because
water.
she is what is it?
She's
She
exalted in Pisces.
exalted in Pisces. I was trying to think of the word. Exactly, yeah. So you can kind of see with all of those, there's this I don't know, I do this because I'm like moving back and forth because it's a very feely planet. Like there's a lot of
Mhm.
like it's very sensual. I feel like Venus feels a lot. Venus is kind of connected to our sense of um, physical experience in a way that maybe the other planet that we've kind of talked about similarly is the moon, which is our
Mhm.
physical body, which is interesting because the moon exalts in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus.
Yeah.
So we can kind of think about the physicality aspect of Venus when we look at Taurus.
Mhm. I agree. And I think like another thing, oh crap, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
had things and then oh, okay. No, it came back.
Yes.
So Venus loves making connections, but Venus doesn't necessarily care about longevity. I think that that's really interesting
Hmm.
whenever you think about like you have to have Saturn with Venus in order for it to be a long-term type thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think her having rulership in Libra, which is an air sign, and air is a bit more of a um, moving, changeable element than the earth side of things. Um, it's yeah, it's not necessarily, she's about like what feels good right now. Like what do I
Mhm.
want? What feels good? What resonates with me right here, right now?
Yep. It's a very in the moment kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I
Yeah, so
agree.
I think um when we're talking about what Venus actually does in astrology or in a birth chart or anything like that, um, thinking about what feels good and making those connections, I think connecting in general is one
Hmm.
clear Venus signification. And that kind of goes along with um, harmonization. So where, we talk about her being a benefic, what does a benefic do? Benefic just basically brings things that are more pleasurable, more, they generally feel good. Doesn't mean that it's going to be something that's always positive, but it's something that generally feels more, it's more of something that we would want, that we would actively pursue.
Hmm.
Um, so, harmonizing, connecting, making things, that feels very Libran on the Libra
Yeah.
side of things, like the air sign, like connecting different things, bringing them together so that it all works
Hmm.
nicely together.
Yeah, like the organizing kind of
Hmm.
type, organizing and connecting. Oh, sorry.
So I know
Go
that,
ahead.
that what you said just like sparked something in me, maybe something about the fall in Virgo, while that like connecting and putting things together feels like a very Virgo thing, and Virgo is
Hmm.
very particular about all of that. I feel like Venus and Virgo can be just over focused on the perfection aspect. And like if
Hmm.
everything is not perfectly aligned exactly as it should be, it is complete fucking disaster.
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me is like making a seating chart at a wedding, right? The Venus
Oh.
in Virgo would be like, okay, well, how are we going to make it look aesthetic wise? And like, is it going to line up with the venue? And they're really concerned about that aspect of it. And like, okay, what number of chairs do we have
Hmm.
to be able to make it look right? And then the Venus and Libra would be like, okay, who is going to work the best sitting next to each other? Because we really
Exactly.
don't want to make family connections more difficult than they are.
Yes, no, absolutely. The Libran aspect of Venus is very like very focused on making people come together, making people feel it's the relational aspect of Venus when we talk about, the one side is kind of the aesthetic, the pleasure, the physical, the sensual, earthy
Mhm.
um, I feel like is probably one of the best Venus words.
Yeah.
Venus feels. And then the other side is the more airy relational relationship connectivity
Mhm.
vibe. Um,
Agree. And I
yeah.
think, Venus finds her joy in the fifth house and she has her anti-joy in the sixth house.
Mm.
So if you kind of like think about what does Venus want to do, Venus just wants to create and do the fun things. And that's why, the children of Venus are singers, they're dancers, they're artists, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then she just is like, please no, don't make me do the daily grind. I just want to like live in the moment and do what inspiration sparks in me.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Venus just wants to like Venus is connected to our sense of value, like what matters to us. I think about a lot how in mythology, the Venus figures like Venus, Aphrodite, Freya, um,
Adonis.
all of these characters are associated, yes, with beauty and love and pleasure, but most of them are also like war goddesses,
Hmm.
which is so interesting to me because I think what came to my mind is Venus shows you what is worth fighting for you.
Hmm.
Like
Ooh, interesting.
it shows you what you value enough to put everything else on the line and be like, no, I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to devote my time and my energy and my effort and because that's what I want. It's like that feeling like Mars kind of comes in there with like the desire portion of it, but I
Hmm.
feel like that's more of just a desiring energy, like an energy thing, like an action. Like that's what I want to act towards. But Venus is like, what do you feel strongly enough? Like what matters most to you that you would go out there and like end it all for?
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that. That's a good point. And I think that like harkens back to like why Venus would have something to say about material value as well. Like it doesn't just have to be material value, but
Mhm.
generally like if you are looking at like transits and things like that, you'll see stuff pop up in the news about like material stuff getting fucked with whenever Venus is not having a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, whenever, and Venus too, I just think about how during the last, what was she? Not benefic
Retrograde?
enclosure, the opposite,
Oh,
besiegement.
besiegement. Hmm.
When Venus was besieged between Saturn and Mars, and everything just like so many things just went wrong. It was
Yes.
just people were making bad choices. Like there was, oh my gosh, was that during all of the Roe v. Wade stuff? Like women's rights started getting like reversed out the door. So,
Yeah.
Venus is definitely connected to themes of like reproduction, sex, fertility.
Hmm.
So it's been interesting to watch with the retrogrades and how those themes get kind of boosted
Hmm.
into the stratosphere and everything.
Yeah. And I think so in the natal chart, what does Venus do?
Mm,
And I think that she can give a little bit of information on like how we relate and how we connect to other people. And I think like based on what kind of sign you're in and what house, like the sign is really going to have something to say about the mode in which you are trying to connect with people, right?
hmm.
So The Saturn ruled Venuses are not necessarily like the most forthcoming with those kind of things, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I think that in the chart too, like, yes, Venus is, people are always like, Venus is love and like what kind of partner you want and everything, or what kind of lover you are. And I think Venus more kind of points to where the moon shows how you receive and how you want to be loved. Venus shows like how you are uniquely empowered to love.
hmm
So that's kind of I like looking at your Venus sign and like house placement as where you are, like I already said, like uniquely empowered. Like what's your love superpower? Like what do you have to give and what do you like most, I don't know, what feels the best kind of love to give. Like for me it's in Cancer in my third house. Like I can just give the most, like I can be smothering. I can definitely be smothering with my love because I just have so much of it. I'm like, I just want to hold you and make food for you and pet your hair.
I think that's a good point. And it is interesting that's like the third house, and you've talked about how like you do enjoy the like giving other people your time and your
Hmm.
love and your effort, and that feels like very third housey. But like you
Definitely.
want to receive love in the way of like words of affirmation, right? Where it's more like the moon in the first house. And
Hmm.
I think that's a cool distinction. And for me, like I love giving people gifts. Like I love buying things for people. And I
Yes.
have a second house Venus. So
Hmm.
here we are.
Absolutely. I love that. Do you buy like people unique yet useful gifts?
Yeah, it's usually like so one time, the little picture back there,
Hmm.
I watched Lane play his Destiny video game for like weeks, and I was writing down like what armor he was wearing in his Destiny playthrough. And then I looked them up and I had my artist friend sketch his face onto all of his like armor character basically,
Oh my
and I give
God.
it to him.
See, and that was what I was getting to with the Aquarius thing, like something that's super unique and like, but I find that useful because it's
It was pretty freaking cool,
it's
okay.
really
But
freaking cool.
I have like edged more into the just like straight up useful gifts as I've gotten older, where I
Yeah.
still stand by it. Like I think one of the best gifts of all time is a potato cooker, okay? And like the little bag thing that you put in the microwave. I'm
Oh my
sorry. It's
God.
it's amazing.
No, that is definitely a great gift. Potatoes are my favorite food, so
Yeah. If
yeah.
and that's on having a Taurus moon, okay?
That's on having a Taurus moon ruled by Cancer Venus. Yeah, that girl is my chart ruler. So, oh my gosh, yeah. So I feel like that kind of, I am excited for us to do a much longer form
Mhm.
um episode on the archetype of Venus and talk about like where all of these significations come from and different mythology characters throughout the ages. But I think
Yeah.
overall, just knowing that her intention, what she does is connecting,
Mhm.
harmonizing,
Making
the act
people
of
feel
giving
good.
love, yeah, making people feel good. That
Yeah.
is, I really like she feels so
You
comfy. Me? What? The Taurus rising? No.
No, I agree with that. And I think, if you are a night chart, then Venus in your chart is going to kind of show you like where you'll get some of the better things in life and like where you will get gifts. And Venus does bestow gifts. So that's another signification.
Yep. Giving gifts. Yep, yep, yep.
Mm.
All right. Well, I feel like for a short and sweet to the point little mini, so that kind of wraps it up for us.
Does
Any
it?
last thoughts about Venus?
Check out your own Venus placements and let us know how do you like to give love and does it match up and make sense with your chart?
Absolutely. Leave us a comment, send us a message, and we will chat with you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.